Hey, welcome to Let's Eat with Russ. Today I'm going to show you how I make banana nut bread. I got some bananas that are starting to get a little old on me, which is the perfect use for them. So I'm going to go ahead and do the dry mix first. This is 2 cups of just plain all-purpose flour, and I need to add a half a teaspoon each of baking powder, baking soda, and plain old table salt is good enough for this. And then I'll just use a whisk to get that combined and kind of homogenized here. Then I can just set this aside while I work on the wet ingredients. That should be about good enough. Just put that over there for a minute. I wish I had a better mixing bowl, but this is going to have to do. So then we're going to want to do 1 full cup of sugar. And half a cup of butter. You can use shortening or any other type of fat that you prefer, but I like butter better. I think it's got a little bit more flavor to it. Shortening always seems like, I don't know, kind of too bland and flavorless for me, so I prefer the butter. And I'm just going to beat these together real quick. About good enough for now. Also, it's especially if you're using butter instead of shortening, it's very helpful to leave the butter sitting out so it gets to room temperature. It's a lot easier to get it to mix instead of a solid block of butter just bouncing around in there. We're going to add 2 eggs. Whoops. And I can find my measuring spoons here. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And we'll get that mixed up. And we're going to add our bananas, and like I said, ideally you want them to be a little bit overripe. If they're a little bruised, even like that one, no problem. It actually will just make your banana bread a little bit sweeter. And they say to add them one at a time, but I've not noticed that makes any difference. And you can use, a potato masher by hand, but I just use the beaters and just kind of partially mash them up a little bit before I turn on the mixer. So in this case, basically 4 or 5 bananas is pretty much ideal. Kind of depends on the size. So if they're smaller, you might use 5. If they're bigger, you might use 4. That should be about good enough. And then we can go ahead and add in our flour mixture. Call that good enough. And then we're going to add basically 1 full cup of chopped walnuts. Of course, you can leave out the nuts if you're allergic or prefer plain banana bread versus banana nut bread. I prefer the nuts in there. And that's basically it. And then you would normally put it into a 9x5 loaf pan, but what I actually have are these two little ones. So a full-size loaf pan, the 9x5 will be, you know, almost double this size. So I'm just going to split it between these two. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me scoop it in. I'll just show it real quick before it goes in the oven, and then I'll show you out real quick after it comes out of the oven. Alright, so I got that split pretty evenly between these two pans. Again, if you're using the right size pan, the 9x5, it should all just fit into one. It'll probably be about that full. My little countertop oven is already preheated. I'm going to do these at 350. I'm going to throw them in, and they'll probably take probably anywhere from maybe 40 to 50 minutes as a guess right now. With the smaller pans, they might cook a little bit faster than if they're in the full-size pan. So I'll let you know when I pull them out and get them right. And the way you test it is you just want to stick a toothpick kind of in the center or near the center until it comes out clean. And ideally you want to get a nice brown crust on the top, and when it comes out perfect, you usually get almost like a fissure, almost like a fault line for an earthquake in the land that breaks through. It'll crack the crust, and you can almost tap on it like sourdough and hear the firmness of the crust, and it'll still be moist and delicious on the inside. So anyway, I'm going to bake these right now, show you how they look when they're done. Alright, so it's been about 40 minutes. Let's give these guys a check. They look like they're about done, but the toothpick never lies. So you just want to stick this right in the middle. Oh yeah, it's not done. Yeah, see how that's not coming out clean? Not done yet. Getting close though. The crust looks nice. Probably another 5 minutes or so, maybe 10. Yeah, that one came out a little cleaner. So I'm just going to give them a couple more minutes, make sure they're all the way done. Alright, I think we're good to go. They took a little bit longer than I thought. It was actually closer to an hour, about 55 minutes. And I already checked them, so they are done, but just to show you what we're looking for here. So again, toothpick right in the center of the dough. Comes out perfectly clean. Right in the center. Clean toothpick. So we're good to go. I'm going to let these cool down a little bit, and once I pop them out of the pans in a few minutes after they have a couple minutes to cool down, that'll be my final segment, and I'll show you that too. Alright, so these guys have been cooling for about 20 minutes now. The pans are still pretty hot to the touch. I can touch them, but I don't want to leave my fingers there for too long. So I'm just going to dump one of these out for now. Oh, it looks perfect. I wish video had smell so you guys could smell how delicious this smells right now. And then ideally you want to use a bread knife. Oh, and I don't know if you can hear this on the video, but that sound of flicking the crust is a good sign as well. Oh, that looks perfect. Still got steam coming off it. Oh yeah, that looks about perfect. Perfect. So I'm glad that came out as well as I had hoped. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe.